registrations. So I think people who can't come in here, they can just watch more than Zoom Live. Yes. Dan, you're famous. What can you say? Yes.
Well, what can I say? I mean, you know, it's a heavy cross, but I'll bear it.
Okay. So that's done. It's I think it's recording on YouTube as well, and it's mute. So that's perfectly fine. Yeah. So, and how's the weather there in UK?
Well, the weather where I am is pretty miserable, but I don't know how everybody else feels in the UK. But it's been so dry, it's been so incredibly hot that actually my lovely garden has needed a good drink. So I will let it happen this week. Let it replenish. But it'd be lovely to see the sun again. It is a bit overcast today. How's it in Germany?
I mean, do you want to be, how jealous you want to be?
Oh, go on, give us full jealousy, go on.
Okay, so the weather is like 25 degrees, perfect sunny, shorts weather. And from today, the bars in Germany can be open 24 hours. So not just 11 p.m. So
wow.
I know.
Ultimate jealousy, ultimate jealousy. Can't wait for that to happen. It'd be so nice to see people again.
Somebody's raising a hand, so I just want to see. Chat. Somebody wants to chat. I'm just going to check. Yes.
All right.
Another 2 minutes, and I think we're going to start.
Fine.
Yeah.
Let's have a picture. Oh, how nice is it to be able to interact with people? It's just so nice to be able to interact with people. I've missed the shows, and I've missed seeing work and talking to people a great deal. It'd be so lovely to be out there again.
Yes, I think it's really good.
Oh, cannot wait. Oh, that's nice, Sharoni. Thank you for that.
Have you? Okay. And have you got your tea or wine or beer with you? Because you'll be talking.
Me?
Yes,
oh no,
a lot today.
Water only for Handmade in Britain, of course. I should hit the wine afterwards, because you're an hour ahead of us, aren't you?
I am. Mine is I'm having tea actually, because I've been drinking for the past quite a few days. I must say that.
So you haven't hit the G&T yet for today?
I don't drink G&T anymore.
No,
just beer. I think just beer and wine. That's it.
Oh, drinks with friends.
I'm a good boy.
Can't wait.
Okay, Dan, I think it's 5 o'clock. I think we should start.
Yeah, 4 o'clock here. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Piyush. I'm the director of Handmade in Britain. As you know, this initiative, Handmade in Track, we take you to one of the artist studios every week, once a week on Wednesday, 4 p.m. But today we decided to bring to you Dan Goode. Dan is one of my very dear friends. And of course, he's a curator, he's a mentor, he's a public speaker, and he's a craft collector. He knows everything about craft. So I thought, because of this Corona pandemic, a lot of the industry is suffering so much. And every artist who's working in the studios, they feel that, they are alone. And so this is the reason Dan came up with the idea that we say that you are not alone. We all are in this together. So I just wanted to discuss with Dan, what are the issues we are facing as a craft industry we're facing, and how can we tackle it all together? So Dan, I would like to ask you a question that, what do you mean by that you're not alone?
Just going to unmute, beg your pardon, everybody. It's so lovely to have you all here, and it's so nice to be talking to people in the industry, I can't tell you. What I mean by that we're not alone, I think that the feeling is, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this, is that we all feel like we're rudderless, that we've kind of been pushed into our studios or our places of work or home. And suddenly, even though we live in a strangely sort of disconnected world as creatives, that suddenly we've been all pushed to the sidelines. and we're alone. And what I wanted to stress, and why it was lovely that Piyush approached me, was that you're really not, none of us are alone. There are still opportunities out there. There are things that you can be doing at this time that will mean that by the time you come to leaving lockdown, A, you'll be in a stronger position going forward, but B, also that you can take advantage of what's going to be happening afterwards. And Piyush clearly is very involved in events that are happening in the world. I curate for Piyush's shows, I curate elsewhere, and we're here. We are a resource for you. Please use us and make the most of this time.
Dan, but how do you see the industry going forward? Because at the moment, none of the artists, makers have done any shows, I think since the beginning of the year, I can say. And organizations like us, like Handmade in Britain, or the shows like Craft in Focus or Handmade, Made London, you know, so we are also a very small organization. So of course we are suffering. So it's kind of like a chain reaction. Everybody is suffering. So how do you see this industry is going to go forward?
Well, I think this, it's interesting, isn't it? Because they say that out of difficult events, very positive things can flow. And I think this is going to be really interesting for us, because people have seen over this weird lockdown period that we've been in, that they can reduce their lives. People are becoming much more conscious of their environment, about being ethically aware. We know the effect on the environment, the effect that we've had on the environment in terms of actually reducing all our output. And I think that lends itself very keenly, actually, to what makers do. You all work in a way sustainably. You work in small environments with small amounts of material. You produce small batches of work. And I really think this is the time for all of us to tap that vein, this new thinking that we can live in a smaller way. And we can invest, our customers can invest in work that will last, that they appreciate, that is not mass produced, but is actually made on a small scale. And I don't know whether you noticed it, Piyush, but I noticed it in fact, I'm sure you did. I noticed it very keenly at Top Drawer that this was already happening earlier in the year, that larger companies were already speaking about themselves as if they were artisan companies. They were trying to convey themselves as small enterprises. This has been in the ether for a while, that there has been a shift towards the handmade and the smaller output. And you already do it. So you're in this fantastic position, actually, if you make the most of it, to tap into the opportunities. I mean, is that been your observation, Piyush, do you think?
You know, I think whatever you say is correct, but the current situation is there is no money, okay? The makers don't have the money. So what are the solutions? You know, I think it's important. So it's like a catch-22 situation, which I feel makers have. They have to do the shows to meet the buyers, which is very important, you know, keep in contact, be visible. But to do the show, they need to have the money. Yeah. So how to get out of that catch-22 situation? And I think this is something, if I'm correct, most of our makers would want to know what can they do, you know, to be present.
Well, this is really key now, because this is the time this is a really good time to focus down on what you're doing and why you're doing it. This is the time to make sure that everything that faces the public is representing you in a strong, really specific way. This is the time to do it. We all produce lots of work, we do lots of things, and we tend to live in a sort of slightly chaotic way, I suppose, in the way we present ourselves to the world. But now, this is the opportunity. This is the time now to really focus down on what you do, why you do it, who you do it for. Because if you've got that, if you've got those parameters, then what you start doing then is expending your finances in the right way. This is not a time now. It absolutely isn't a time now for a kind of dragnet approach where a maker, a creative tries to do as many shows as possible and they hope to snag the people that will like their work and buy it. Now is the time to really focus down on what it is you do, why you do it, and where you need to be. So if you're going to do an event, and I totally appreciate this is a really hard time financially, I share it. I'm not being furloughed. I'm a freelance. it's going to be really important now to take advantage of doing your background work so that you are massively prepared for when the world reopens. Secondly, it's looking at the left field opportunities. So I curate for Piyush's shows, but I am very honoured and lucky that I get to offer a reduced rate. So I can curate and I can help you. I know it's an expense, but it's a way of doing it. There are other events that I curate for. Sorry, and there are online fairs as well that are going to be appearing. Piyush, sorry. You're on mute. You're on mute, my friend.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Yes,
exactly. I can hear you now.
So when you say you curate for shows, you curate for a market, canopy market, and you curate for handmade. So some of our makers are asking, what do you mean by curating? So can you just be a little bit more?
Yeah.
What do you mean when curating?
So curating for me, I mean, I'm sure there are different types of curating. This is entirely personal to me. I have always been really passionate about giving people a voice. I see lots of really wonderful work. I see lots of people who have come up against difficulties or struggles, or they're starting out. And what I was noticing in my experience, I was a talent scout for two online galleries, is that we were losing people from the industry. We were shedding people, really good people. And so what I wanted to do was do talks, because that was going to hopefully help people to miss some of the pratfalls that might occur. And then Piyush said to me, Dan, you're meeting all these people. Would you like to give them a platform? Would you like to give them a chance? And I jumped at it because my passion is giving people a voice. Alongside that, and I'll then explain what I do, but I'll try and do it as briefly as possible because I know we're short for time. On the back of that, I was also offered the curatorship of Canopy Market in King's Cross, which is a smaller affair. It's much cheaper. It runs every weekend over 3 days, but I curate the craft and I do it really, really carefully. And we were lucky to be voted the best place in London, best market in London to browse craft. So my plan is to take really good people, give them a voice, offer them opportunities that are right for them, help them sell, and then underpin them while they do it. And for Piyush's shows, basically I get carte blanche. I pick really talented people and go, do you want an opportunity? I'm here to support you. We'll have a reduced rate, but I'll also be there to underpin you. And by being part of a curated area, you're then supported by your fellow creatives. So it creates conversation and support. And it's frankly joyful. I mean, it is just a joyful thing to do. And so I'm very lucky with what I get.
Dan, just to clarify, you're not doing Piyush's shows, you're doing Handmade in Britain shows, you know?
Sorry, yes, I'm doing Handmade in Britain shows. Yeah.
Yes, so just to clarify on that, what happens is the people, you know, who don't know Handmade in Britain and the events like Chelsea Old Town Hall, and they feel, some of the makers always feel that our shows are expensive, which I can understand because we have set cost attached to that. Oh. So that's why Dan comes in the picture. Dan picks up really good artists who are not sure about how our events are. So they get they come in a group environment where Dan picks up 10 or sometimes 12 artists as well. And then they come as a group show, Yeah. Am I correct? That's how.
Yes, absolutely.
So they get a reduced rate. They're not in their own individual stands. They are in a gallery space environment. And that's how they get the experience of doing Handmade in Britain show. And then next year onwards, they can go and have a stand.
Yes, exactly. So what it does is it ticks a number of boxes. It reduces the risk for you, the maker, to some degree. So it allows you to try an event, but with a smaller space, but you try it, you get a feel for it. Does this work for me? Who do I meet? How does it work? You do it in an environment with, I mean, I only ever put lovely people together, so it's marvelous. I have a whale of a time doing this curation. I just love it. But you're then in a supportive environment. I curate it very carefully, so I make sure that there's a really balanced mix of work. So also for the customer coming to the area at Chelsea, which is a gallery area, they get to stroll through interesting work, and I then put people together very carefully. So you haven't got a number of similar items or similar disciplines together, so people can see a journey of the work. It shows you off at your best, and then I support you. So my plan is to be there, to visit, to underpin you, and my aim with that is for you to get all the benefits and all the marketing that Handmade in Britain does, but you get to try it. And then you can go, okay, that works for me. And what I also say, and I share this with Piyush all the time, is you've got to be really canny now about what you do. I mean, you always have had to be, but I think it's even more important now. And you've got to make events really work for you on many levels. And it is time now that you use your any shows as a marketing opportunity as well. Invite people. So you're going to Oxford, do Handmade Oxford in next year, or do Chelsea. Go, who do I want to meet? Who's in the local area? What could I do while I'm there? So what benefit can I get? So you're always adding value to what you're doing. What can I produce to show my work? How do I show my work to its best effect? How do I mix the work? So people might think, I could have one piece or a smaller piece, that's what I can afford. Or I might buy a number of pieces because they work really well together. This is how it's got to work. Now you've got to be really canny about what you do. And that's what the gallery idea does. That's what I do. And it feeds really seamlessly into the greater show that Handmade in Britain puts together for you all.
I think, Dan, this year it's more than important to collaborate actually, because as we said, that makers don't have money and they want to try the shows, they want to do the shows, but they don't want to, some of them do not have the budget to spend that money. So I think we have discussed that this time, Making Good area could be bigger, obviously, both sides of the galleries. So how do people find you? How do they get on your radar? How can they contact you? And what level do they have to be in business? Do they have to be a new maker, or they can be an experienced maker, but they have never done the Chelsea show before? Or have they done the Chelsea show before? How do they contact you?
Okay, so there are a number of ways you can contact me. You can contact me on Twitter at Making Good. So it's quite easy to get hold of me. I have a website, makinggood.com. You're very welcome to go on there and send me a message. I visit in normal circumstances, obviously not at the moment. I visit as many shows as I can, and I go and speak to people because I love seeing the work and how you as a maker show yourselves. This is really important, that first impression, how you present yourself, the quality of the work. I do that as well. So I do my due diligence. That's what I try and do. What were your other questions, Piyush?
Yes, exactly.
I don't want to miss.
At what stage does a maker need to be?
So to be honest with you, a maker can be at any stage. I love seeing new talent coming out of the woodwork, as it were, out of colleges. I love to see what people are producing. But sometimes people fresh out of college haven't got the resources. But I keep them, to show at a show, but I keep them on my radar. But I also love seeing older people who have been making for a while, but maybe I haven't met them, or they haven't met Handmade in Britain, and I stumble, I open studios or events or a gallery, and I go, oh my God, I haven't seen this work before. It's really beautiful, and that would work so beautifully next to that, and that would fit with Chelsea, or that would fit with Oxford. And then I will approach the maker myself and just say, I'm sorry for a kind of cold introduction, but I really value what you do. I think it's beautiful. How would you like to work? Would you like to work? I go around galleries in the provinces. So people apply to me, I sort of apply to them. And whenever I start to curate, so I talk to Piyush every year, he gives me sanction to again, curate for the show. And I send out an email with an information pack. It tells you what it entails. And from my perspective, no maker will ever be strong-armed into doing anything. I do not believe in it. If the event is right for you, then by all means come and do it. If you don't feel it is right for you, I will never force you to do something. So it's always done in a very easy way. If it's right for you, you want to do it, I have space, you fit within the range, then you are welcome to do it. That's how it works.
So what if the makers, they can't afford to do an event? So what other opportunities are out there for them this year?
Well, the other options, which are really interesting, I mean, we can talk about that people's own websites in a minute, because that's a whole different subject. But there are online fairs happening now. I mean, I appreciate there's still, everything is going to have a cost. That you can't avoid that. People are setting up. If you do an online gallery or you do an online fair, these opportunities are out there. But bearing in mind that all these opportunities will have been set up by somebody to make the whole process easier. There'll be a framework that has to be paid for. That is how it works. So there will always be a cost involved in it. But it is about going, what do I get for the cost that I'm putting in? What am I getting? What's the quality of the service I'm getting? So you get the most value out of what you're doing.
But Dan, besides the online fair, we'll come to that point because somebody has asked the question that will Handmade in Britain be doing an online fair? So I think we will cover that in a bit. But what other, besides online fair, because as I said, some makers might not have any money to do any event. Okay, so what should they do to remain visible?
Okay, so now this is the crux of it, and we sort of touched upon it earlier. The real issue now, the real nub of what people need to do now is work on the way they are showing themselves, the way they are presenting themselves. This is going to be vitally important. The world is moving, and has been for the time that I've been working in the industry, has been moving towards more of a presence online. And a number of people get it really right, and a number of people, bless them, get it really wrong. And I don't necessarily think altogether that the training is helping people to make the most out of these opportunities. This is the time now to focus down on what you do, why you do it, and how you sell yourself. If you make beautiful work, you have to sell it beautifully. It's no good now being aesthetically aware when you make a lovely vase and then you put a substandard picture on a website and you put a very basic description of it, and it doesn't show the scale of it, and it doesn't show how I can use it. Those times are over. If you do that, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. And that is not the way ultimately to get yourself back in front of customers. So now I do a lot of this with mentoring with people, which is focusing down on why you do what you do, why you do it, what inspires you, your story. This is really crucial. I've been saying this for a decade now. Your story, why your work exists, is the most important thing. It differentiates you from every large store. It differentiates you from your other competition. That is how you are going to snag people, by being honest and sharing yourself, being really specific about it. And if you do that, show your work really well, good photographs in context, good information specific information about yourself. That's how you snag people. And that will really set you up when you then are able to go back out into the world, and it will help you sell.
I think I agree with you, because we have an online marketplace for like nearly 1.5, 2 years now. And what we see is the people who are selling the most actually are the ones who have the lifestyle shots, where the idea of scale, because I think it's very different doing a physical fair where you can actually talk to the customers, but when it's online, people are not there. And the reason I say this is because there are such good products on our website, but they're not sold because there is no lifestyle product like shop there. So that people cannot see that. One of the good things, what I'll tell you about our online platform is there's less than 1% return, which is, I think we've only had 2 returns in 2 years. And that too, the one of the return was that the customer was buying a present for the wife. So he exchanged, instead of give a refund, he exchanged, and one of them got the refund. That's about it. So we've never had any issues. Whatever has been sent, it has been accepted. So I think this is one of the positive points for our online marketplaces. And as you know, that we are about to do a Crowdcube campaign as well. We were supposed to do it in March, but now we are extending it so that, let the time get better, and then we'll just do that. And one of the things which Crowdcube picked us up was because normally there's a 30 to 40% returns in any online marketplace, and ours is less than 1%. So that's why I want to tell the artists who want to apply to our online marketplaces, please have a lifestyle shot, because that helps it. And we have also recently introduced, the live chat option. And you'll be surprised to know I'm the one who's doing the live chat. Actually, they don't know I'm the one who's doing the live chat right now, because because some of the team is actually off now because of reasons. And so we have divided the time work and things like that as well. And I tell you, our sales have increased because of the live chat, because that thing we introduced 2 weeks ago, because I'm there and then telling them, okay, this is what you can do. And the sales have increased.
Yeah. And what I think and what's really interesting about this personal quality, handmade work has a personal quality. It comes from a person.
Yeah.
It comes from your inspiration. By sharing your inspiration about what you do, that's how you connect with someone else's creativity, because they go, I understand that. That has a resonance with me, and that's why I want to buy it. It's that personal quality. But I can also hand on heart. And
Dan, I can't hear you. Can everyone hear them? Because I think
can you? You've frozen for me, actually, Piyush. So, am I back? Ooh, can you hear me? You're muted, Piyush, so I can't hear you.
Yes, you're back.
Okay. So, what were we saying about? You can hear. Great.
I can hear you.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So the other thing that crossed my mind was I cannot stress enough what Piyush and I have spoken about the way you present yourself, because Piyush I know will have experienced this as well. If you as a maker are presenting, if you make beautiful work but you present it badly, and I or Piyush, we cannot tell the quality of your work from your photograph, and we see work all the time. So we're praising work all the time and seeing how it fits into the world. If we can't tell what your work is like and we see it all the time, then how can you expect your customers to guess what you do, the quality of what you do, the scale of what you do, and how that work will fit into their lives? People always jump to their immediate default position. So without naming any names, the second year I did Q with Piyush. Wonderful maker, wood turner. I mean, exquisite work. So fine, so fine. But also coloured, so beautifully fine, but sort of coloured white. And I was standing with this maker, this wonderful maker, and somebody walked past and went, "Oh, I'm not keen on porcelain," and kept walking. And I suddenly thought, oh my God, this work is so beautiful, but not once have we mentioned that it's wood. And it's those sorts of things. That was in person. That was in person where you had to go, we lost somebody because they've made a presumption about something, even though it was beautiful work. You have to bypass all that. You have to bypass people's preconceived ideas and make them connect exactly with what you do and why you do it. And if you do that, you improve your chances of selling exponentially, I think. Do you agree, Piyush?
I completely agree with that, actually, because I have come across with a lot of people like that also, as I said, in online as well, because I think communication is the key. You have to communicate, especially with the people you don't know anymore, because people could be now with online, people could be in US, can be in Australia, can be in New Zealand, anywhere. People could be anywhere and they would be looking at the website.
Yeah. And you don't have to be a good writer. I think this is, a lot of people come up against this, and they ask me this all the time. They're worried. They say, I'm not good with words. I don't know how to express myself. What I always say is be honest. What is it that appeals to you? What is it that means something to you? What inspires you? And tell it like you're sitting here with us having a conversation. And if need be, sit with somebody, have a chat with them, get them to ask you the questions you want asked, record yourself saying it, and then write it verbatim. So it's your words. It doesn't need fantastic prose. It doesn't need great words. It just needs to come from you. And if you are honest and really specific about it, I tell you, it moves people. And it moves me. I connect to people immediately when they start kind of speaking from their hearts.
So what should the artist look when deciding for an event? Because now, of course, everybody is going to go online fairs. So I think looking at a target market, the craft people are buying, of course, the younger people also are buying, because looking at the craft report, I don't know whether you read about the craft report by Crafts Council, which is very promising. It sounds very promising. Have you read it?
Absolutely. I haven't read that yet. No, I haven't. Do send it to me. That'd be great.
I've got this 112 pages ready to read. I read the summary.
I haven't read it.
I shouldn't have printed it out, but I needed to, because I'm traveling to Cologne for the weekend, and I thought, 4 hours in train, I have to go through that. So, and that's what I did. But it sounds very promising. The craft market sounds really, really promising. I mean, they have divided the market segment in the buyers. So I think what makers need to do is find the niche.
I've lost you.
And not to everybody.
I lost you there for a moment. Can you just repeat what you said? Sorry, Piyush. I lost you.
So what did you, so what I'm saying that Crafts Council has created this report, which is an amazing report about the buyers segment group. So they have divided that into 9 segment groups. So I think for makers now, it's very essential to read that and target that niche market rather than targeting all the 9 groups. They need to know where they fit in, where their work fits in. And I think depending on that, I think they should do the events, because my shows could be good for some people, but might be bad for some people. you know, and you know, some people might do some other show in other area, and that would be good for them.
Yeah.
So I think it's makers. I think I do understand, because there's a lot of work which goes, you know, when you do a show, but there's a lot of work which goes when you organize an event. You know, organizers can do 100 good things, but one bad thing is always remembered. You know,
Well, yes,
tell me about it. Every time every time I put on an event, I say I'm not going to do ever again. I'm never going to do ever again. But then, I mean, I do it for the love. You know, I enjoy doing that. And I think that has been happening for Chelsea for so many years, because I have this conversation with my regular people, and I'm sure some people might be there. And I say every year, I said, "Oh my God, this is my last year in Chelsea." But it's never. I would say for 4 years, 5 years. No, this is my last year in Chelsea. I'm not coming back again. But you know, as soon as the new year comes, I miss Chelsea, because Chelsea is something you know, how my company started, and I think the people, you know, the quality buyers come there. You know, so
yes,
that's why I like it. It's such a the vibe is so good. The atmosphere is really nice. So I must say that Chelsea is one of my favorite, and I am hoping that Chelsea goes ahead. I did have a conversation with you know, Joanne, who's the Chelsea Old Town Hall, you know, the director, events director, and so they are creating some ways that, you know, one-way traffic and things. So they're working on it. So I think it looks like the event will go ahead. So she has given me the green signal for now. She said, "Piyush, I think the event will go ahead based on your floor plans and things." So I'm happy about it, I think.
And we can, and the thing is, from my perspective, I can take my experience, because Canopy Market will open hopefully in the next month. That's what I'm hoping. And I will learn from that. So I will learn how we do it there, and how we manage social distancing and looking after customers and caring for people. And as organizers and as curators, we all talk. So I'll feed back my experience being on the ground in King's Cross. It's not the same as Chelsea, but it will feed into what happens at Chelsea. And I think it's going to be really, really important at the end of the year that you as makers have somewhere to sell and be seen and to engage with your community, but also that customers will be desperate to see you. I'm desperate to see you. It's only June, and I can't wait to see makers again. So I think we'll all be really grateful to have that event, you know what I mean, but to look forward to prepare for. And where we can all engage with each other.
Sorry, I think there will be events in September as well. I think we took the tough decision of cancelling Oxford because I think the overheads to run an Oxford event like Oxford is massive. And especially with there was a kind of concern with the jewelry, especially the jewelry exhibitors, because, you know, when jewelry, you have to try and you have to come close to things. So, and then speaking to Simon in Waterbury, and then we realized that, you know, it's better to postpone and do something online. So that's why, you know, we are planning to do something on the online fair as well, because there's a couple of people have asked the question that will you be doing an online fair? And I think the answer is yes, we are researching on it, because we want to be different. We do not want to just do the website and do that. We want to make it more interactive. And that is one of the reasons we started Handmade Interact, to gain momentum, so that people for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, people get to know what Handmade in Britain, what we are doing. So we get the following, and then we launch. So I have actually created a poll about the online. Just going to, if you get time, please continue. I think, can you see? You can't see that.
I'm losing you, Piyush. So I don't know if everybody else is. It went very, very disjointed for me. Yes, Piyush's
you can't hear me?
is cut. I got as far as the poll that you were talking about, Piyush, and then I lost you.
Sorry, guys. What I'll do is I'm just going to.
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay.
I can hear you now.
Okay, so the poll is live now. If you guys can just please take part in that. This is about the online fair, because we want to make it interactive. There are only 4 questions. 4 questions about, I've been speaking to quite a lot of makers as well, whether we should launch it in October or November near the Christmas time. One of the questions is that, you know, the dates, one is the fees and commission, and what would you like to be included in the fair? Of course, we are doing the workshops. We are also launching workshops as well. In September, we want to launch paid workshops. So all the artists, some of the artists, who can't do the show, but they want to teach, so this is something what we are looking at in the workshop section. So we've already got 3 workshops nearly finalized. And if any of you are interested in doing any workshops, please send me a proposal, piyush@handmadeinbritain.co.uk. Let's have a conversation next week. Just I'll give you my mobile number and we'll have a chat. And then maybe we should do that. Maybe this would be one side as well, because as I said, if you can't do an event, if you can't do an online, is there something that you can do from the comfort of your studio? We can always try. We all have to try together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Everybody can hear me now, I hope. I
think so. I can hear you now, Piyush. So
I was just about to move to some other room. I thought I'd maybe all the time I was the problem. You were not the problem. I think I couldn't hear you. It was me.
So I noticed we've got some questions, Piyush, that people have submitted. Should we answer some of those? I'm just aware of the time. I want to make sure that people know that they can interact.
Yes, I think we should do that. Let's have a. So I think Lucky has answered a couple of questions in terms of like that. But Keith Shepherd is asking you: do you visit Showcase in Dublin?
No, I haven't. I'd really like to. The reason I haven't done it, and I'll be completely frank with you, is that I am, as a curator, completely a one-man band. And so I try to visit as many events as I can, but I'll be frank with you over this, and as you all understand at the moment with the coronavirus, I have to be really careful about how I do that financially and just how I manage it. I have been over to Belfast. I have spoken for Craft Northern Ireland and for the council in Derry. So I went and saw work then, and I would love to. And if I get the opportunity, I most certainly will. I know that I saw a fantastic exhibition of Irish work at Clerkenwell, and I really fell in love with it, and I'd love to see more of it. And Malin Foundry's over in Ireland, isn't it? Wonderful, wonderful Malin Foundry. So I'm aware of you.
That's from Malin.
Yeah. So, but if I can't, then do send me. Please send me links to your work. I would love to see it. And if events are going on, I will do my best. And if at the very least, I will go through the event catalogues and I will look at all the work and I will contact people. I would love to see it. So please do send it anytime.
Let me see another question if they have. So the online market, they have said that. So one of the things is that what should they do before 2020? In 2020, what are the 3 things they should be doing in 2020? Top 3 things.
For now, I think, well, not knowing all your financial situations, and obviously we're all struggling in all of that. The key thing I would do at the moment, certainly before anything reopens, is work on any online presence that you have. Make it really consistent. Make it speak for you. Make it speak with your voice. Not in the third person, please. Not through a screen of the third person, first person. I want to meet you. Share with everybody what it is about your work, why your work exists, your inspirations, how it touches you, why that particular craft, why it's not another, why it's that medium that speaks to you. If you can sort that out, look at your photography and make sure your photography is good and you're doing your lifestyle shots and putting all that together, you are going to be in a really strong position when we come out of this. If you can do events, then look at the events keenly. Is the event where it happens? Is it right for your custom? Will you meet the people that you want to meet? Look at the work that's there, see that your work fits in, be really frank about it, look at it, go, does my work really fit into that event? If it doesn't fit into that event, might it fit into that event? Might it be handmade in Britain or made, or might it be Canopy Market? So be really canny about who you're going to meet, where you're going to show it, and then look at the cost of it. And if you can't afford to do a more expensive show in the short term, but you want to sell and gauge how your work is being received, then come and do Canopy Market, and do it in a different way. It's fine, it's good.
But I must add to that because in Chelsea, we are receiving a lot more shared stand requests. And of course, that's perfectly fine. This is one of the ways as
Yeah,
well to cut down on the cost, because you can share with someone, whose work complements your work. And
absolutely.
perfect. I think these are the ways to, I think doing a group stand, doing a shared stand. I think these are the two options which you can, if the market is right, you should be trying to cut down on the money.
It's a great idea, and what's brilliant about that, which I think is a fantastic idea, certainly in this period, is that also you can share the time that you're both at the event. So some of the issues sometimes with doing events is the fact that you're away from your studio, or there's other stuff that you can't do because you're at the event. If you're sharing a stand, then you can divvy out the time. Someone can actually go and get a meal. They can go and do their emails. They know that someone's looking after the stand and overseeing it. It's a really good way. I'm doing that at Canopy Market at times, saying to people, by all means, if the work complements, it helps you, it means you don't have to spend 3 days at one event. You can share the time. All of this reduces your cost. It cut the cost of the stand, the cost of your travel, the cost of your time. It's a really, really canny way of doing it. And that's how the gallery works as well. I sell spaces, offer spaces, either 1 meter wide or 1.5 meters, that you can cut that to your, to what you can afford. And then we can sit down and work out that you get the most out of that space that you've got. I think it's brilliant, Piyush, that you're offering that. I think it's fantastic.
So what do you think about the visitors now? Because, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What do you think about the visitors? Do you think that visitors are the target market we have? Will they accept this online fairs?
Yes.
Having said that, our online sales from last May to this May were 3 times actually.
Yeah. The thing is, this is all about, this ultimately comes down to being in the right place with a company. So wherever you go, because ultimately it's your choice. No one is, well, certainly Piyush and I would never strong arm you into doing anything that you didn't want to do. If you go to the right place with the right custom, you show yourself well, and you show yourself in a way that is, every area that someone meets you has to be complementary. It actually has to be, I'm struggling for words for a second, and I very, very rarely struggle for words, but it has to be, you have to know that when I meet, well, I have to know that when I am meeting you on your website, I will meet the same person when I meet you at Handmade in Britain, or I meet the same person when I meet you at Canopy Market or Made, that the same person exists in all those different spaces. If you look really good in a show, and someone doesn't buy because they're thinking about it and they're being canny about their money at the moment, and then they come to your website and they go, but that's not the same quality of person that I met in the show, they don't buy. So it's about consistency. Thank you. Finally, my brain works. It's about consistency. It's about making sure that all those different elements, all those cards are lined up. And anywhere someone meets you, whether it's in an event or online, on an online shop, in an online gallery, they meet the same person, the same quality, the same thought, the same care. And if they do that, then I have no doubt that online will work. The great thing about that is it links you to an online retailer that is there all year, and then they can come and have the bonus of meeting you in person when they meet you on the floor.
So one of the things, Dan, is, which is a very important question, I'm sure I go through that as well. How do we, in a creative sector, like makers and the organizers and things, and how do we get out this negative mindset sometimes? Some days are good, some days you are so inspired, but what's happening around the world and what's happening in UK at the moment, how do they get out of that negative frame of mind and focus on the business? It's very easy sometimes to feel, oh my God, this is not working. I'm just going to do some admin job somewhere. This is not going to pay me. And, how to break that chain of negative thoughts? How to break that chain of negative thoughts?
I mean, it's a really tricky one, that, because we all struggle with different things, and we're all at the mercy of these elements where we feel defeated. I mean, wow, that is to me, that is such a broad question. I find, for me, it's about focusing on a project. It's about going, what do I believe in? I try to link myself in this time. I get asked to do all sorts of things, but I try to always link myself to things that I believe in. If I really care about it, it's like, spending an afternoon with everybody here is, Piyush asked me, it's like, yes, I believe in that. So I want to be part of it. That keeps me going. Part of it is keeping myself connected to the people that think about it in the same way. It's about having the standard of it and the care and the consideration. I in my curation, want to surround myself with people who are positive and want to help each other and want to support each other, so that we're all a body that kind of looks after each other. And I think that's a really good way of doing it. I think at the moment, it's much easier, I think, to have negative thoughts at the moment because we're very disconnected. And when you're disconnected from people, it's very hard to maintain, to know that other people are going through the same thing or what they're doing and how you can help yourself. And I think to be out in the world, whether it be however you do it, whether it's improving the way you engage with the world, with your own resources, or it's going onto an online marketplace because that extends your reach, or it's doing an online fair, or it's then meeting people in person, or doing events like this and doing mentoring and things. It is about reaching out and letting other people help you and support you. And I think that's really good, to surround yourself with people that are kind of fueling you and underpinning you whilst you're underpinning other people.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I think my signal is bad. Teresa, I just need to say to Teresa, I am staying positive. That's the reason I'm focusing on online fair. Of course, I wake up one day and sometimes I say, oh my God, what's good? Because Oxford show was our biggest revenue, and suddenly the 65% of the revenue of the company goes away. And then you feel, oh my God, the world is ending. But, we'll be fine. The Chelsea show will go ahead. And also, the online marketplace, we have big plans for the online marketplace as well, making it more interactive. As I said, Handmade Interact, and hopefully we'll be Crowdcube, our funding opportunity will go live again by next month or something. So I think it will be good. I am positive. I'm very positive today.
Can I just say, Piyush, that Roger Phoebe's asked I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, has asked a question. Are you going to discuss how people set pricing? That's a discussion we can have if you want to, Roger, and by all means email me. makinggood@gmail.com, because that's a slightly different discussion, but it's perfectly valid. And then someone else who's anonymous says, do I have any plans to do mentoring videos and Zoom? Again, as I don't have the person's name, contact me and we can talk about it. So makinggood@gmail.com, drop me an email so I know who I'm talking to, and then we can talk about the options. And I'll be, again, exactly the same with the curation. You tell me what it is you're looking for. If I'm the right person, then I will willingly help you. If I am not, then I will help direct you to the people that should help you, because it's also really important that whatever you do, that you expend your resources in the right areas. So I'm very happy to do that. So please do that and drop me a line.
Sorry, I have to walk because I think my internet is so bad in that room. So I don't know if you guys can see me or not. Yes, so can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. So the other thing I just wanted to say, because one of the visitors, we received actually a very nice, email after a couple of Handmade Interact sessions. And they said, why don't we organize an auction for the contemporary craft? Handmade in Britain organized auction for the contemporary craft. And I just wanted to know, I know because this was not in the online poll, I just remembered. So guys, if you think that something we should organize as an auction, so setting at the base price, obviously, would you like to take part in that? And I think that could be one of the things for the online interactive fairs,
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be really interesting, wouldn't it, to hear people's views on that? Most definitely.
And I think a lot of people also have the question about lifestyle shots and the photographer, because I think what make us struggle in terms of is the photographer,
Yeah.
So because photographers are often expensive. I think Jeshen is one of the ones who is slightly inexpensive. Omai Goksu is another one, I think, who does jewelry.
Yeah, I mean, this is really key. The photography thing is, and I personally, and I know this is not an avenue to to be selling individual people, but I have trusted Yeshin Venema for a long time. And I think when you are, I don't have shares in his business, so I'm not trying to sell something I'm getting anything out of. But it's really important that when you have photography done, if you have to have it done professionally, and it's good to have it done professionally, that you expend your money wisely so that you're not wasting your time, you're not wasting your energy, and certainly your finances. So he's someone I've always recommended. I am always happy if people come to me and say, do you know anybody else? Then I can, if I don't know somebody in your area, I'll see if I can find somebody. I mean, there are all sorts of organizations like the Design Trust and Arts Thread and the Crafts Council themselves who all have resources that we can draw on.
In fact, I remember now because Omai, one of my very good friends, and he's a jewelry photographer. He specializes in jewelry, but then he wanted to get into ceramics, and he did actually message me the other day and said that if there were any ceramic artists who would want to get their products shot for free for some few products, and then somewhat the discounted. And I did send him to my online. I said, why don't you just contact the online artists who are there? And maybe I think he's contacted or he's not contacted. We don't know that. But if somebody wants to know his email address, just please email me on piyush@handmadeinbritain.co.uk. I will be very happy to share his email address, and you can contact and you can tell that Piyush has given his number.
It's lovely sharing people. It's lovely sharing people's work. It's lovely that the community works together. This is one of the joys actually of what we do is that we all underpin each other. It's lovely, lovely sharing people and their skills. And one of the joys for me in curation is meeting all of you and then being able to work with you and celebrate your work. So as with Piyush, I mean, contact me anytime. You know, makinggoode@gmail.com. Contact me, send me images of your work. We can have an honest conversation and see what the opportunities are, either in Handmade in Britain or elsewhere. We can talk about it, or mentoring. We can have a chat about it.
And are there any other questions? Dan, can you see if you would like to answer?
I'm just looking to see. This is where Mr. Goode shows himself to be the Luddite that he is. I can't actually pick up all the questions that people are asking. Simone, not sure how one can sell jewellery with social distancing. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's a very good point. I think the only thing you can do with that, Simone, is going to be how you present it online with really good lifestyle shots, so people can see how a piece of work sits on the body, how it relates to skin, how it relates to what people wear. I found that really useful in the past with the online galleries. The only other thing I'd say with that is if that's all in line, then pushing energies into, when you can, doing real life events, but then steering the people that you meet there to then go to your website because they've seen your work, which I know sounds like I'm teaching you to suck eggs, but I think it is tricky with jewellery. I do. I think it is a very particularly personal thing, but people do buy jewellery online. They do.
Yes. I think we have answered a lot of questions, and some of the questions I think are personally for you because of the canopy market. So you have given your email address. So I'm sure the makers would contact you. And if you guys need to contact me about either Chelsea, or if you like to do a demonstration, Handmade Interact, join an online marketplace, please email me or please email Lucky. I think it's a good thing that it's like an open studio. What it is, it's a virtual open studio, 1 hour, you are having the demonstration, and either me or Nicola, somebody is with you there. So you don't feel that you're alone. I'm asking questions as well. So people are watching. We've had quite a good response as well. People even from Germany, New Zealand, US and Canada, they have been watching this as well, which I'm frankly surprised about it. Exactly. So, but please contact us if you need any help in terms of if you want to share a stand, if you want to have a group stand, or if you want to do an online marketplace, we are here for you.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Teresa, I think last question. Can we see you do a workshop? What kind of workshop are we talking about? I don't understand. I think is the makers workshop. Oh, I just forgot that she can't respond. We are the only one who are talking. Okay. Anyway, so I think what Teresa, send me an email and then we can talk about that. Thank you so much, Dan.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you everyone for being a part of it. Next week, we have Carolyn doing the ceramics. Carolyn Tripp. So please join us on Wednesday, 4 p.m. on 17th of June. That'd be great.
I look forward to hearing from all of you. All the best.
Bye.
Bye-bye.